Good morning. We are live today. Hopefully some people join, but I've decided to just continue working and continue from where we stopped. Today we will try and complete the UI and hopefully talk about grid CSS if we have the chance. Okay. So before we start, let me run the project. If you're on Windows, you can use command. I can't remember the control, but if you're on Mac, you can just click on Control L and Command L, Command O. Okay, and we're live. So first of all, let me quickly inspect the element. So since I'm using a Mac function F12. So this is where we stopped designing the LinkedIn clone. We've achieved the search, the navbar, and we will carry on in the rest of the page. So let's quickly look at the design we got from Figma. So if you're just watching live, the links to the, if you're watching this live, the links to the Figma file and the will be added shortly. The Figma files and the GitHub repo will be added shortly. So here we are. So we will try to design this UI, and sometimes we'll be looking at the real LinkedIn website. So let me quickly open that on my browser. So let's go to LinkedIn. Sign in. By default, my account is signed in. So the reason why I'm opening the main site is because the Figma design we have is written in another language. So we'll be looking at the real reference for most of the work here. And the reason why we still need the Figma design is because we need to get the actual dimensions which the designer used. And another thing is to keep in mind is I am doing the inspect element because my screen resolution is quite low, and the design's resolution is 1440. So on mine, it's below that. So that's why I always do the inspect element to get this design. Once I get this design, we'll do a media query work on the website to make it fit my own UI. So my own size, which is this. And there isn't much problems at the moment, but I believe we could improve. We could improve this using media query, or we could even just pick a new project to do that. But for now, this particular tutorial is to show you the basics of Flexbox and, basics of HTML and CSS. So here we are going to design this this layout, and we've stacked out something, a sample that seems to look like the layout. We've blocked out an element, so we'll just continue from where we stopped. Let me open up the code now. So sometimes if you can't remember where you stopped, you can always just inspect elements, click on Control Shift C to check the div content. Once you click on it, we can know this from the CSS class. We are working on the profile preview. So let me scroll down. See, profile dash preview, which is this particular div. And it seems like in the CSS, we've already given it a defined height just as a temporary placeholder, which we won't need. So let's looking at the design, we won't need that. So let's go to the design. So from the design, we can see that we have this layout structure. And I think the best way to achieve this is to use the flex. So we have all these divs in a flex. Since I haven't given you any basics in grid, we can also achieve this in with grid CSS, but since we've not done any basics on grid CSS, let's just stick with the flex box for now. So from what I'm seeing, we have a background. So let's also reference the main site. We have a background photo, which is added here. And then we have the main photo as your main UI. And we have your name and some of your title descriptions. And we have this, and this. And it seems like this is a particular div. This is one div. This is another div. And this is another div. And finally, the last div. So that's the approach we're going to go. Now, we will go reference. Let's look at the design again. Similarly, this is a div. This is one div. This is another div. And finally, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's block out these 4 divs quickly. So remember the shortcut. So div times 4. If we want 4, 4 gives us 4 divs. So let's focus on this particular div first, because we've achieved those rounded edges right from the beginning. So now, so in this one, in this particular first div, let's not even worry about changing the size for now. In this particular div, we have an image. So in the div, we'd also have 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3 divs. So let's add these 3 divs in it. So div 3, and that's good. I think we're good to go. Okay, let's start by getting the height of this particular div, the inner div that has a background photo, because all this, the sizing here will be determined by the spacing. So let's first get the height for this. So we can get that from the design reference by double clicking. Just this item. And from what we're seeing, if we click on the inspect, the height is 54 pixels, so which we're going to apply. So before we do that, we need to give this a class. So what I think we should give the class, we'll call them preview items. So because we have the profile preview, so we call all of this sub previews, give them a class of preview items. So profile preview items. So we give them a class profile dash preview dash items. Right, this is okay. You can even leave it as preview items if you want, but I just like to describe something. So I just like my codes being extra descriptive. So I'm just going to copy here and start pasting. All right, this is good. Wait, let's quickly, do we need to style it right now? Should we provide it? Yes, I can see something here. It all has a bottom border. So if I should zoom on the style here, you'll see it has we could use, bottom borders to achieve this, or what's the best way to achieve this? because this is the last one. Yeah, we can target the last one and not give it border button, but let's just give them border button for now. Okay, so let's just copy this, go to our CSS and provide the styles. So in this, right in the CSS, you see this profile dash preview. We could do something and specify that we are talking about profile preview, and the child of the profile preview should, which is this class. So this class, maybe you might have this class repeating itself. So to avoid that, we could specify. So for now, let's give a height so that we can block things out. Maybe let's give it a height of that 50. That's the height we got was 54 from that image. We could use this as a sample height for now. Then we would give it a color of pink. So color, so background color, just to block things out, pink. I like to block things out to know, where I am at every given time. All right. Then one more thing we need to do is to give it a width of 100%. So we are saying take 100% of whatever space we have. Now let's go to the design. Let's see what we have. So you see, we've achieved the breaks. Now we don't really need this height anymore. The height will be automatically determined by the height of the sub elements. Now, since we've successfully blocked things out, we can, give it the border dash. So we could give it border dash bottom, because specifically that's all we need, and we make it solid. And the width, we could say just 1px and save. So you could see, however, the color isn't black, so we could get the color from the design. So that's why we have the design here. We could zoom in, double click that element and see, check the inspect. It is a gray color of E0, E0, E0. Copy that color and we go back to the code and provide the color there and save. It's raining here in Nigeria, Abuja. That's nice. And we have it. We've gotten our color. So we don't need that pink anymore because we've been able to achieve the blocking out. And we don't need the height anymore because we've also been able to well, let's leave it there for now, right? Let's leave it there for now. And we could leave it. Let's see. Let's look at the design and see. Let's see something. Maybe we could just set the minimum height to that 54 pixels, just to have something there. Just reduce it. Come over here. What's the height of this last div here? The height is 36, so we could use the minimum height just to have something, so just to have something to look at. So the min height would be 36, and that is okay, just for the visuals, so we know where things are placed at every given time. Now we can go back to the div that has those images. Now we would provide this image. Let me get this image from Instagram. To get any image from a site, you could just control as function F12 if you're on a Mac. I'm currently not using a Windows system, so I can't really remember some of the commands. Okay, but you can right click any element and click on inspect, and it will do that for you. Now If you want to get the detail, the detailed div, you can click on this icon here. Once you click on the icon, you hover on that particular element, select it, and you get a reference to that particular image. Well, now we don't only need the reference. Okay, we also actually want the photo. You can click on this link. It should open up the full photo for you. So what I'm going to do is save this photo, save as, maybe put it on my desktop for now, or we just locate the project. We can just locate the project straight on. I think, let's see, where is my project located on my PC? Okay. I think let me minimize this or reduce the size. It usually gives me that information if I right click. So, okay, this isn't giving me the information. However, I could cd back ls. Okay, if I figured out where it is, it's in my HTML folders. So okay, from the download, we locate my HTML folders, which happens to be in my dev account. Which happens to be my main account, the development folder, HTML. Yeah, LinkedIn underscore clone. Go to the image folder and we say preview. We give it a memorable name. Could call it preview or BG underscore preview underscore. Okay, that's okay. BG underscore preview. That's okay. And we save it. It goes straight to the project directory. And we don't need this tab opened anymore. We can go ahead and close it. So that's one trick of getting any photo you'd want to get from, from any website. So from most websites, some really go through a lens of trying to protect their photos. But most social media sites would allow you to do this. Now, to cut in this is mainly from directly from my LinkedIn profile. So we could go to our code editor right now. Go back to the code editor. Check your files. You would see that that photo has been added. So what we could do is to just go ahead and add an image tag, provide the source, which happens to be in our image and BG preview. So under alternate, for search engine optimization, even though I'm not a search engine optimization expert, but it's good to just like keeping these habits in mind. You could just write the name or a placeholder for the image in case it doesn't load. I could just say background, or if you're using a server, this could be generated dynamically. Maybe you want that person's name, just say code Sahir. You want that person's name to be out there. So code Sahir, code Sahir. And we can go back to our text editor to see what we have. Sorry, to see on the website to see what we have. Now, we could see so many problems. The photo has just gone really big, and it's taken over the whole screen, and we don't want that. So here are some tricks we can use to fix it. First of all, there is a CSS attribute we could add to the preview. which is the overflow property. So the profile dash preview, which is, the parent element. We could add the overflow, and we could say hidden. It will hide any overflows in our image. And that is good enough. Then the size of the photo itself is quite large. So we could reduce the size of the image by, targeting the image that are under the profile dash previews dash item. So we could go, to look at the design and get the actual dimensions for the image. Or there is actually, scratch that, there is actually another property we could use here, which is uh, the image, the display type for the image. So we could easily Google that, or let's just do that. Let's just try, because sometimes we try before we Google stuff. So here, and the image in it. Let me look at this, the image in it, and we close. Before we do that, actually, I just realized something. You see, this isn't directly in the div items, it's in another div, right? So we could call this the background placeholder or something. We could give it another class. We could call it BG holder. So we could call it BG dash holder, right? So we could actually target this particular class and, work on the properties. So BG dash holder, that's a new class we're going to create here. Go back and target that BG dash holder. So we might not need to do this immediately now. Sorry. Let's provide the height first. So the BG dash holder is going to, we're going to give it a height of, I guess, 54 px, right? Yes. 54, was that what we got from the design? So let's quickly go back to the design to check the actual height. Quickly get the actual height of the photo. Okay. So the BG, the height here is 54 pixels. Okay. And let's see something. So overflow again, hidden. Let's see what happens. Yep. So and the image itself, we need it's, it's no, it doesn't look like what we have on the Instagram, because let's see, there is a property called, I hope it doesn't only work for backgrounds. There is a property for the images that we can use to change the display and make it contained. So let's use that now. Let's say .bg. So this is live actually. I'm trying to be bold. I'm live. I didn't, rehearse or anything. This is my first time trying to do this. All right. So there is I guess, I hope it's not only for the background position. Okay. This only works for backgrounds. This particular, okay, let's see image, if there is a property for image. No, there is no property for image that might solve this for us. Or the next idea for us is to maybe actually use background image rather than add an image, because there is a particular property, which is the background position, yeah, or the background, no, not the background position. So it's the BG image image clip. So no, that's not the right one. So I'm still, let's see. Let me quickly Google the right element. So let's see. So this is like I said, live. So sometimes we Google stuff. So how to clip an image using CSS. So I know that's what we need to do. So how to clip an image CSS in CSS. Quickly, so the clip property, we just go to the first reference we have. So the image clip, is that what we need? I think, no, that's not what we need. Now, we could check the image properties in CSS quickly, since we have this reference. So we could go down to the images. Okay, like I said, initially, the other solution we could use is to turn it into a background photo. If we can do that, if that's one of the options we have some advanced background techniques. So, which like the exact background position, background repeat. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. And I believe, yes, it is the background size. So that is what we are actually looking for. So the background size, like the content, will make ours look exactly like what we have on the Instagram. It won't just, expand, stuff like that. So that's one way we should approach this. We can go back to this particular div and comment the image right now. So go back to the CSS, yeah. Then we easily just add a background. So background image. So background dash image, right? And it's expecting a URL as an argument. And we provide the URL to that particular image. And we know that that image is in our images, and it's called the background preview image. And we still have our image, right? So one thing we can do now is to say the background dash size, and we can make it contained. Save, refresh the page. Let's change it to cover. And we've achieved the look we wanted to. So look at the Instagram page, look at the same, we've achieved what we have been struggling to do. Now, since we've passed this stage, the next thing is to have this particular image here. This image, you can see the image is on top of this background image, and we have some text here. So we could easily achieve that right now. So let's go back to our HTML and analyze it. So we don't need this commented item. We can take it out. Go back to the page, go back, analyze. So as we are analyzing, we know that we have a div here. And this div, we could make it have that image that we need. Because one of the reasons why we're putting a div is because you see it actually has a white border radius around it. And that's one way to achieve it. We could actually just use an image, right? The image tag directly. And we can use the before remember the before extensions in our CSS, just like how we've used it. So I'm going to just, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use both approach to maybe show you that there are, different ways of, achieving the same thing. So let's first start using the div. And if we're using the div, all we need to do is to add an, if you're using the div, we could just, add a background photo in it and use the same techniques we've used here. So we could have a class called BG profile photo. Right, and save. Then we can provide, before we go to the CSS, let's just copy this because this class doesn't exist. Just copy it and go back to it. Now, right under the BG holder, BG dash holder, we can, paste this. Remember to always add your dot. And we can provide a background URL. So background URL. So background image, and it's expecting what? A URL. I think we already have an avatar photo, which we can use. So we would just get it from the image folder. The image folder and the avatar. That's what's going on my keyboard. So we've gotten the avatar. Go back to the code. Save again. Go back to the code. So nothing is showing because we've not defined a height and a width. So we can get that from the design itself. So let's go to the design, and if we go to the inspect, you could see the height and the width are all 68 pixels. So it's a squared shape. So we can say height 64, 68, sorry, px, duplicate it, and change this to width over IntelliSense. VS Code, I didn't ask you to do that. All right, so we save again. What is happening? Okay, it has appeared, but it seems like the photo isn't showing. It's actually there, but I think we need to use that background size cover. All right, to make it show properly. Okay, is that the same photo I'm using on my Instagram? Okay, for the sake of the people who are just joining in, I'm going to get this photo again from Instagram because I just showed some tricks to get photos from any websites. You can easily just right click and save as, save image as if you want, but there's another way, well, the advanced way. Some people display, disable that. So in case you're having that problem, come on, expand. I'm trying to expand my. All right, got you. Okay, so you could just easily inspect anything by clicking on this icon or clicking on the shortcut Ctrl+Shift+C, Command+Shift+C if you're on Mac. So you can select the photo. In the styles, you can see they are also using the same approach we're using here. Okay, no, I don't think they are because I'm not seeing a URL for the photo in the styles here. But anyways, you can see we have the photo. You can click on the link and it should open up a new tab for you. Okay, this time around it didn't work. Just getting the source didn't work. We could go to the sources. Network tab as well. Okay, let's not waste too much time. Let's just do this, right clicking and getting the image. So right click, save image as. We could call it profile underscore photo. And we save it in the same directory. Now let's scroll down. Let's close this. We don't even need to inspect all the time here. So we've closed it completely. So I just wanted to change the photo. There's nothing wrong with the old one, but I just wanted to do exactly like the Instagram's profile photo I have here. So I've saved, and that's the photo we have. Then one thing we need to achieve again is to make sure it's a cycle. So to do that, we can easily achieve that by saying border dash radius. So that's one property there. So the border radius should be 100%. It will turn it into a complete cycle. Then you notice there is a white background on it. But before we add that white, let's position it right at the middle of the particular div. So the easiest way to do this is to make the parent div an actual the parent div relative, and make the child here absolute. So we would position it exactly where we want it to be positioned, near like half of the photo. So the parent element, let's go back to the CSS to find that one easily, is the parent element is happens to be the profile preview. Well, yeah, that's okay. We could do it that way. So I was thinking of moving this into the background border, but I don't know. That's another way to solve it anyways. So, there are always multiple ways to do stuff in programming. You're not tied to one specific way of doing stuff. You just look at it and see what's best for you, and you pick it and go ahead. And if it works, fine. Then, okay. So we've discovered the parent element is the provide dash preview items. Go back to the CSS, which is provide dash preview items, which is the parent element. So the display, we've already done this before, right? So the position, sorry, not display now. The position is going to be relative. And this particular photo, the positioning is going to be absolute. Position, absolute, and we save. Can you see it's just placing itself anywhere. So so if we say the top, for example, if we say the top, the profile photo, did we do it in the right place? Yes. So if we say top should be 10 px, it goes up, right? So right now we are going to be either eyeballing, or rather, let's get this from the design. So we can click on Command Alt if you're using a Mac, and hover to the next item you want to get the difference. So, and the actual value is going to be 20. So 20 px would work. So we could go to the code and say 20 px. The top is 20 px, and we have it. It's accurate. So now we need to position it to the center. So the smartest way to do this is to another way to do it actually is to make the parent element flex and justify items center. We could do that, but that's going to be too much, and we might run into problems if we try to align this properly. But so since we're more worried, anyways, we're still going to flex it. We're still going to make the display flex. But since we're only worried about this photo, we can just align the photo and just leave the rest. So the photo now, we could just say left 50 px and transform -50. So transform the dash translate. I remember when I was into game development, transform transform. Okay, translate. We use this a lot. So x along we are worried about the x-axis and -50. This should put it at the center. It did. So let's see. Okay, -50, comma -50. So this is a trial and error stuff. Nope, it didn't. So the okay. Should be using percent. Sorry. So let's go back. Should be using percent. Not even 50 pixels for the top one. So I should be using percent. So I want it exactly. So if you're using percentage, we'll get it accurately. So we've achieved that look. Now the next thing we need to do is to provide this border on it, right? So we could easily do that by adding an after, or we could add a just add a typical border radius for it. So we could just say border radius. So no, sorry, not border radius. We need it to have the border itself. So the border, solid border, and the color should be a white color. And yep, we have achieved the exact look like that of Instagram. And let me be sure the width of this border radius is the same. So let's go to our style and get the exact width if we can. So I just zoomed and I don't know if this would work. So I'm trying to use the Control Alt to see if I could get this width. No, it seems like, okay, based on the way it was designed, this arc, see, this photo has this arc. This photo has this arc. This particular background photo has this arc. So we can't get this, but using eyeballs, we could let's just eyeball it to, let's leave it the way it is. At least it's almost the same with the Instagram. So let's go to the page. So it's almost the same with the Instagram. Yeah. And maybe if okay, yeah. I think we've gotten it. I think I'm satisfied. Let's just go on. If the site's too much, let's not, waste too much time on that. So this is one way of achieving it by using the border radius and so on. So we could also use the flex box to achieve that. But to save time, maybe we'll do something like that later. Just to save time, let's move on because we have a lot to do. Now, we need to provide this particular this particular item, which is the username and the user description. So let's go to the design and do some analyzing. All right. This happens to just be a div, I guess. So and it has some space in between the photo here and the div entirely. Then I noticed, so the smart thing we could do is to just add a div, right? And they give it some padding, some padding bottom and padding left, and maybe a padding top with different values. So here too, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get, okay, let's see, to get the actual, to get the actual difference. Because this is just one photo. So we're just going to eyeball stuff. And the height happens to be, okay, let's also make the height dynamic based on the text we have. This are the text content we have. So let's go to the HTML, and that should be right here. So we're done with this photo, and okay, we're still in the background placeholder, right? The photo here is, okay, it's not, we're still in this particular item. So in this item, we need to add another div. And in the div, we're going to have an A tag, so maybe H3 tag, right? And we're going to write the username. So let's say Abdulbasit, Saeed, I think that's okay. So good enough. And we're going to have a P tag. A P tag saying, let's just copy those descriptions there. So just copy this. I think I didn't copy it properly. So let's copy it properly. C and Control V. No, again, I didn't copy it properly. So Control C, Control Z, Control V. And here we have it. So if going back to our design, we'll see that we have it. Now, to style it, we need to go back to our CSS, and we can give it a class called maybe name and description, something like that. So class, call it name dash description. Okay, so that's okay. We save it. It's good. And we could copy, add a new CSS class. The name, paste it, open and close a body for it, and we start styling. So what do we need to do first? We need to make all the text, right? We need to make them align center. So we could just say text dash align center. That's good. That's one thing we need. Then we need to provide a padding. So to get the padding, we can analyze the design as well. So the padding is, I think, 10 px. So we could get that. Just say, so we can start the padding bottom is 10 pixels. So we could provide the general padding. So the top, and when we are providing the general items, like the general, not a specific attributes, we could have padding top, padding left, padding right. Those are other attributes. Let me just demonstrate. So padding left, padding top. So we can actually do it once. And maybe provide the top value. The top value is going to, it starts from the top. So the top value, we could say 20 px for now, just to block out things. Then it goes to the left. So the left, it seems dynamic. So we would say we just put 0 there. And for the right, we're going to, no, it goes next, not next to the bottom. So we need it to be 10 px. And finally, we go back to the right, which is 0, and we save. And this is the output we're having. So I think this isn't good enough from what we're seeing here. So maybe the top would make it a lot more, maybe 40. 42 doesn't seem right. So we can make it 50 px and eyeball. 52 doesn't look about right. Let's just make it 70, see what it looks like. 70 seems very similar, or we could just say 64. 64 looks about right. So the next thing is these are actually links. So we could change this later to links, but for now, since we just want to achieve the looks first, just worry about the looks. So this name here is actually a link. All right, this it seems there is a padding for the name for the description because ours we are not achieving that look. So we are not achieving that look. So we can just give it some padding. Maybe the left value, we could also just say 10. 10 px is okay. It might not look exactly as we want it to look. So, but yeah, 10 is about it. It gives us the exact look. And the bottom padding, it seems like 10 from what I'm seeing doesn't look exactly like what they have on Instagram itself. But we could go back to the design and see for ourselves by selecting the text itself and holding down control and out, and we have it's still that 10. But you can see there is some some spacing. So I would just give it the bottom. Maybe I'll just give it okay, top left bottom. Sorry, top right bottom. I give it. Let's see. I give it 12, or yeah, 12 is okay. See 12. Let me bump it up to 16. Okay, 16 looks about right. I think it's okay. We might not be able to get everything, perfectly perfect. So, and I noticed something. All the p tags have the same color. So we could just, create this color. Then it's about time to teach you about talk about the var, the variable, the variables. So we've been using some colors over and over and over and typing them over and over and over. So and we might even forget. So here we can use the var keyword. So let me quickly get the reference again, because sometimes you forget stuff. So the var can just type, and let's go, since we are on the CSS tab on WT schools, we can navigate to see if we can find the var. It's a little bit advanced. Yeah, variables, CSS variables. Is it under the advanced? No, it's not. Yeah, it's under the advanced. Okay. So the var variables is used to create variables, CSS variables, because you don't want to, programming, you don't want to be, rewriting stuff all over every time you want to use something, right? So so this is traditionally, initially, how you define colors. And this is the same problem I'm talking about. We have this hashtag FFF, hashtag FFF, and hashtag something repeated over and over and over. So we don't want to do that. Maybe we want to define our own colors and use them. And when maybe, for example, quick example, if we are working with a client and the client decides that he doesn't want the background to be white anymore, we'd have to go and start changing each individual white color. But if we use the variables properly, we can just change that one variable and the whole site changes. And that's how we can achieve dark mode and light mode. So probably when we're maybe with this particular LinkedIn clone or another clone or a different clone project, we'll try to achieve the dark mode and the light mode once we learn how to work with JavaScript. And if the person selects on maybe on a certain on his settings and sets the dark mode, we'll change the whole software to have the dark mode theme. So it's good for teaming purposes as well and code reusability. So even though some people would say HTML is not coding, that's their opinion. It's called markup language, but I still see it as coding because it still falls under the definition of giving instructions to the computer. So what you're basically doing, you're still giving instructions to the browser to make changes. It's a markup language, that's the right thing, but you shouldn't be dragging people and saying, hey, this isn't really. So this is the syntax for using the variables. So you say var, you provide the variable name. You must put this dash dash, comma, the value of that particular variable. And that variable could be anything, actually. It can even be the profile, the photo URL. You see, we were always providing that photo URL. Let's say if that particular photo repeats over and over, and we don't need to dynamically generate those photos from the server, we could do something like that. We could work with the var. So since I've explained it, we could just add it here. So right underneath before the body, we can just say var, and it's almost like it's like a function. Then we think this should be right in the roots, right? And it's expecting two stuffs, it's expecting the name. So one of those colors we are using, which is maybe text color, so we just call it text dash color, right? Then the value itself would be the color. I'm doing something wrong, so let me just check for an example. All right. All right. Okay. So the var here is for when you're referencing the value itself, and when you're when you're declaring the variables, you should do it this way. It just skipped my mind. I forgot entirely how to use it, but I've used it before. That's why I even remember that something like that exists. So we could declare in the roots of the project, right? So the variable itself. So the root of the project. So that's just what this root means. At the root of the CSS, please have these variables for me. So we want the name. Sorry, the text color, text dash color, and the text dash color, the value, right? So if I get this, yeah. So the value, we can get the value from this or from the design, from the HTML design. So we could select it, the inspect there gives us the value of the color value. Select the text itself. It seems the UI UX person didn't get the colors right because he's using black here, but on the official site, it's not using this black. So we could just use this plugin we installed in the last video and pick the color. So zoom and pick the color. So we've picked the color, it's saved to our memory, and as if we have a variable color. We can zoom back and you can just click on Command 0. So so all we need to do in the p tags, so we can even target all the p tags, and maybe if you're not satisfied with the color, we can change the value, target that value in your code. So right in the body, we can just so right after the body, we can just say the p tag. We want it to have this color by default. So the var, just use the var keyword and provide the color. So color is going to be equals to dash dash. Let's look at the example in W3C. So var, okay. So color itself and the var. Then we provide the actual variable, which is dash dash text column. And this should work and take effect all over the site, all across the site to take effect. So we're going to have this column. All right. This is good enough. Well, and I noticed the font is thin. We can work on this one later. So some of this extra details we can work on them later. Because I don't know if we have in the design, we don't have a design. Let's see if we have a design system. Okay. We sort of have a design system, so we can look into working with some of these design systems. So let's go back to the website. Just continue, blocking out things. Worry about the details later. That's why every time we're having these classes, I usually say, give you assignments. You should try and do stuff on your own. That way you will learn better, because watching videos alone won't get you anywhere. Actually, you have to try, just like how I'm doing. Just try to build stuff. That's the best way to learn. Try build stuff. You need these tutorials to practice and get used to stuff. But then you also I get information so that you don't trouble too much. But then you need to practice to get used to. So the next thing we have, I believe, here is a link. We have links. So who viewed your profile? You have 12 people viewing profiles, and who viewed your posts. So that's one. So this goes to the next div. So let's quickly do that, which is in this particular div. All right, we can collapse this particular profile preview item. So done it, and focus on this particular profile preview item, which is this, right? So let's go back and see I noticed some things. I hope we got it well. Okay, so you see, this paddings provided padding for the description and the text. So I'm thinking, this padding here, this should be a padding top because there is a universal, size. It looks the same because the person who designed it for Instagram understands the concept of spacing. So this spacing is provided everywhere. So we have to move all of this up. So the only thing we need here is actually the padding top. This is same for the top, for the bottom of this other divs. The only div that doesn't have the padding top should be the first one. So let's do some things to fix that now. And with this, we don't even need to provide, with this padding, proper padding, we don't even need to provide a minimum height. So we could just take this out. We only need the padding top. Right? So we only need the padding top. Take this out. So generally in the preview items, we should provide the padding. The top should be 16px that was what we eyeballed to look like to make it look nice. The left, was it, I think what it was 10. Oh, sorry, the right was 10. Then the bottom was 16 as well, and the right to 10 px. We can say something isn't right. Top. Okay. I think so. So let's see. Padding would be starts from the top, right, bottom. Okay, let's check. Let's quickly check the reference. That's why we have the reference. Not to get confused. So let's go to the padding CSS. Not under advanced, just simple. Display, align, opacity. You could easily search. So padding. No, we don't want to search by video. So CSS padding, that's what we want. So the general padding, that's what I want. Just the padding that gives everything. Okay. Yeah, so I thought I saw the top is 25, the right is 50. Yeah. The bottom is top right, bottom left. Okay, let's look at it carefully again. And let's see what we did here. Padding top. Okay. Preview, items preview. Okay. So we say the top should be 60. The right should be 10. The bottom should be 16. The left should be 10. Okay. So let's see what's going on. Save. So let's inspect element. So, okay. The overall width is messing up with this. We gave it a width of 100%. Right. So, and the padding is making it big, and we have this. We've already defined a width for this div that is covered that is covering the whole thing. So which is this? The width was 220 pixels. If I uncomment this, okay, still doesn't solve the problem. Then let's see what can we do to achieve this. Let me quickly uncomment this to see what's up. Okay. It could be the image because it could be the image that's causing this problem. So let me quickly just do this. Comment the background photo and see what happens. It's not the image. So what we were suspecting wasn't causing this. So let's say something again. Let's use specific padding for now. Let me use specific padding. So padding dash top, set it to 16px. Nothing wrong apart from the image. Don't worry, we'll target the image and make it not to have the first item not to have a padding top. Then padding left 10px, right? Then padding right I'm already seeing the problem reoccurring again. So let's go to the width. We specify the width. Let me comment it and see whether it fixes it. Okay. So that was the problem. So the width was trying to be 100%, while we are adding extra values of padding to it, and the particular div is growing. And remember, we added an overflow argument that says if it overflows, hide it. So that's why it just shifted like that. So we don't actually need this width 100% anymore. So we can go back to the general padding. So you can see that even experienced developers run into issues, CSS issues. You struggle to fix it. It just depends on how fast you can debug and fix your problems. That's why I decided, man, I'm going to do live. So that you see that not, unlike the YouTube, if I was to just do a YouTube tutorial, I'll just, just edit everything. You'll not see me struggle one bit. So, but we do struggle when we do that every time. So we start from the top, the right, was it the left or the right? That confuses me a lot. Anyways, so the bottom, then what are the right? I think the right. 10px and save. Okay. Okay. Oh, px, px. Okay. We've achieved this, but you notice because I added this padding, our photo isn't, this isn't what we want. So we can do something, actually targets the nth element. Let's see. So we can say the profile preview dash dash targets, or I hope I remember this. Okay, this end child. Okay, remember. So end child 0. We want it not to have a padding top, so padding dash top should be 0. Let me check. Let's see. Preview item. Oh no, not the preview itself. The preview items itself. This one. So Control C, Control V. So the end item shouldn't have a padding top. Let me quickly look at the reference. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. So I think it should be under the advanced, will it? So even if it's not, there is a, so we could easily Google this time. So end child, or we could use the W3 school search and just type end dash child. So search it, open it, and here we are. The p tag end child. I think we are end child of 2. So okay, let's see something. I think we've gotten it. So p tag end tag. So the profile preview, the first child, which is the 0 at the 0 index, we want it not to have a padding top. Let me see if making it important would work. So let's say this is important. We want it to override whatever CSS we have. Nope, it didn't. And items. Let's see this. Let me just do this. Didn't work. So let me inspect element again, just to debug. So click on this. This, select it. Let's know what classes it has. If we untick this, it works. We tick it back, but the end child target didn't work, which I was trying to target specifically the end child of this particular class. So let me be sure whether this can work with classes or it works only with um, with the element itself. So sometimes you can only use this special, what's the name for it? You can use only the special target CSS selectors to directly work on classes. Sorry, directly work on the elements, not the classes. So, okay, from what I'm seeing, let's click on the reference and see more. And last child. So from all the examples we're seeing, the child are usually done with the element itself, like p tag. However, let me see something. Let me Google quickly how to target and class and child in CSS. Let's see if it works. So in the CSS tricks, we've done, there's an example we've just opened. Just open and see if it works. Yeah. So end child for n. Okay. So I'm seeing something new for myself too. I'm seeing an N added to it. Let's see if that would help us. Save. I haven't got really read vigorously, so I didn't really read the I'm just scrolling through, which is actually wrong. You should read and know why you're having this. And so from the example, select every third item. Okay, that has the EL. So every third item that has the EL. Oh, okay. So let's see if we can directly target okay. So, okay. Okay. So I think I understand. So so in the preview items, let's go to the HTML and analyze the HTML. So in the preview items, we have this. Preview items. Oh, all right. So it's the preview that we need to target actually and tell it the first child should not have this padding. The first child of the preview itself should not have this padding. So right now we need to take out this. The nth child. We don't need this n here because this is The N denotes every single zero child. So look at our code. It didn't, no change. Let's go back to the reference again. Make sure we understand. So let's go to the highlights. So .el. So select every third child item as long as it has the class. Okay. As long as it has the class E. So here we're saying that the nth child with 0 shouldn't have a padding top of 0. It's important. Okay, and I've tried that. It didn't work. So, well, the next easiest solution for us to use is to just create an extra class and maybe call it no padding or something, or no padding top, something. That's just a hack. We will eventually try that. I will eventually try to get back to see if I could, if I remember, see if I could, as if I remember, see if I could fix this one. So just to save time, this isn't real project. And even if it's a real project, sometimes you just need to save time and maybe write comments, maybe we write to do. Oh, sorry, to do in CSS. To do, check how any type works very well. So check how and the child works properly and make fixes. So we would comment this. So whenever we are working on, when we're done with more important stuffs, we could come back and check this one. So we could add an extra class. We can add an extra class called sort of profile preview. So we could see this particular item. We could add an extra class to it and maybe call it top preview or something. So top dash preview. So, and override, we will try here to override the styles there. We would have even overridden this using the normal style tag, the inline CSS, because based on hierarchy, you don't even need to add an extra class. Based on hierarchy, the inline CSS takes the highest precedence. So style, and we can just say padding top. And we'll just provide the unit 0. That fixes some of it. We could use the general padding. So the top is 0, we know. So the right two will be 0. The bottom should be 16 px. Then finally 0. And that fixes all what we were trying to do. Anyways, so we could achieve that using style too. So that was what we've achieved. So, but I still insist, we could also learn more by checking out how to do. Check out how end child works. It's just remember, check out how end child works. So that's one thing, assignment for myself. So this we've achieved this. Now the next thing we need to do is to just provide these two links, and which is pretty basic. And the reason why I went through the stress was I noticed a pattern, and I wanted to just make it clear. So it's just a link, and the link itself is probably you could achieve this using a flex and space it, space between, and use the space between to have this appear properly. So let's do that quickly. I hope we can achieve the rest of the page today. I'll try to add maybe some extra time to see if we could just do those things. I have a complete clue, almost complete clue. So let's be fast. Add these links, right? So two anchor tags. So it's div, or not div. We're now using the a tag. The a tag, we'll just leave it empty. The href, we just use the hashtag to refresh back to the page. Then we can actually provide two divs in it. We don't even need to provide two divs, just provide a p tag, two p tags in it. So p tag, d, or two spans, anyone. You can use anyone or anyone you want. So duplicate it. Maybe in the next one we'll just use span just to show you to do the same thing here. So who viewed your profile? I hope it's a link. So let me just be easy to view your profile. Your profile. Who viewed your profile? Then the next thing is going to be 12. Save. And we have it here. So we need to do some stylings to that a tag. And all we need to do is just target the a tag within the preview item. I don't think we have any other, do we have any other link? Okay, yeah, we do have this all links. So if you notice, it by default doesn't have an underline. So that means the decoration is text decoration is not. So we could go down where we have the preview items. So we could target the dot profile preview items and the a tag specifically. So we want the text decoration to be none. So none would give us a no text decoration. And we want the display to be flex. That's the easiest way to get it done. So flex. So the display is flex. Oops. Okay. Fresh. Yes. The display is flex. Then we want we want it spaced around. So justify content, space around, or space between. Yeah, space between may give us exactly what we want. Now let's go back to that end tag stuff that we tried to do. Then there was before we do that, I noticed there's too much space here. Remember that minimum width we added? We don't actually need it anymore. So there is a minimum width we added, or we can even. So there is a minimum width, width. We don't need it. We can comment it because the padding is already providing the spacing, like making the spacings right. I think the padding left we used wasn't 10. I think it was it 12? something. We'll go back to that later. But now let's just achieve this look. Let's just achieve this look. So let's go back to try and work with the end try get the end element. So the E tag, let's go. Where are we? At what point are we doing the E tag? So let's just search for it. A. No, not that A. Actually targeting A tag. So the A itself, we have to do this again. Copy. C. B. Then the nth child. So the second one, counting in programming starts from 0, not from 1. I would explain that when we start JavaScript properly. So the nth child, which is 1, we can say that the color, for now, let's just give it a dramatic color. So let's just say the nth child, no, the nth child. Okay, now the A itself and the P in it. The nth child of that P, second P tag, would have a color of red, which is dramatic. But wait a minute. In CSS, oh no, wait a minute. So all this while, it didn't work earlier simply because CSS counting starts from 1. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. All right. That's new. That's new. So yeah, that's funny, man. So I can see why some guys will shout that CSS isn't um isn't a coding language. Please let me quickly reply some messages on the on the WhatsApp. Okay. All right. So okay, so we've achieved it to be read. So remember our variable, stuff. We are going to have this repeating. So we're going to create another variable color. We'll call it, I don't know what to call it right now. That was one of the difficult things I faced as a toughest decisions as a software. Okay, so let's inspect elements to get the color. Or you could just use this plugin we installed and get the color. We will zoom. Do we need to zoom? Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So zoom, zoom, zoom. And select it. Did we just? Let me use the plugin again. Don't think I got the color. So zoom. Get the color. Zoom out. Come back here. Let's see if we even got the color. So EB, no, that's not a color. That's what's going on. Plugin. What's going on? Okay. So what should we call this, please? No one is active on the meeting, so I'd have to talk to myself. Just keep talking to myself. So what should we call this guy? Would call it, okay, I noticed the, yeah, more of those colors. Maybe we'll call it highlight text or something like that. Or text two, something. Text two, text color two or something. We'll come up with a better name later. Text dash color dash two. Yeah. Come up with a better name later. So all we need to do is to target that particular div, or we are already targeting it. We are already targeting it. So the end child, we'll use that variable. Okay. So, and this is why at this point, using SAS and, using separate CSS files would come in very handy. So that's why we would learn SAS in the future. When your CSS starts growing, it becomes difficult to keep track of where you are and what you're doing. So let me look for that end child, right? Just searching and just use that var keyword. We use the dash text color too. This is good enough. And here we are. We have this. Good to go. So we need to add this link again. So you see, we need to add this link. We click on it, it refreshes to the page. And there is a hover effect. We will add the hover effect soon, but let's add the views of your post. So let's go to the HTML and just, duplicate this. What did I do? Come on. What's up? Don't tell me I can't duplicate anymore. Yeah. So some 108, right? From what we got, then viewers of your post, I guess that's what it says. Viewers of your post. Views of your post. Okay. Then I noticed something. There is the div itself, the anchor tag itself has some padding, so we might just eyeball it, or let's look at the Figma design in our hands to see if we can get that information. Nope, we cannot get that information. Okay, no, we can't. So let's just eyeball and maybe give it, one of the standard, padding, which maybe 2 or something like that. So let's go back to the CSS to do that. And the A tag itself, let's give it a padding. We could just use the general one, since we're targeting the top, we could say 2px 0. Remember, left, right. Huh? So then bottom 2px, 2px, finally 0. And that should give us that padding, and we would have that nice spacing. Then when you notice, when we hover on it, it has a background color it has a grayish kind of background color. So we will do that now. And we just need to have the A hover for it. So we need to just copy this, specifically target when we hover on it. So when we hover, please give us that. So when we hover, we're going to just the background color. Remember, we are working with the what's it called? With the okay, save background color. Nothing happens. Nothing is happening. It is not hovering. What is wrong? We say A hover background color. Okay, I can see tag. Background color hover. Nothing is happening. Okay. Okay, yeah. So nothing is happening because I'm using a mobile preview. So yeah, definitely we'll get this. But I noticed something again. This this seems in the, you see, this is a full width item. So it means this particular one doesn't have, the padding is only applied to the A tag itself. It's not applied to the entire div. So you remember I noticed that there is a general padding. Then one more thing we need to do is to make sure we get this color. This color is, I think it's rhymes with the background. So, and the background color, we did not specify. So we did not declare a variable for that. Let's declare a variable for the background color itself. So dash background. Dash color. We could just cut this, paste, and we could use the dash the var here. Dash background color. And I think we can use it here too. We can use the background color here. Dash background. That's what we want. So that's what we want. Okay. So this particular one, this particular element doesn't have a general padding to it. So we could do something. We could actually just go and edit this end child, or just take out the padding generally, and have the padding to each individual div that needs it. Rather, I prefer to use the end child, so that we go back to the end child. And the reason why the end child wasn't working before was because in CSS, unfortunately, counting starts from 1. So 1, 2. So we will target the 1 and the second one. So remember, we had a to-do to check how and whatever works. Sorry, to check out how the end child works. So we figured it out, so we don't need to check it out anymore. So the no longer 0, so 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2 so and child of 2 shouldn't even have, okay, shouldn't have a padding left and a right. So padding left and right, so we could use the general one. We know the top. Let's specify this time. So left should be 0, this is 0, and right is 0, please. Padding right is 0, please. For now, I don't think we need this important. Yeah, it works. So yeah, you can see it works, it works, it works, it works. So next we need to go back to the A tag and give it some padding to be uniform with this one. So we'll say I think 10 is okay. It will be uniform. So Mr. A tag, let's go to A tags there. We can search for it. The code is becoming the CSS is getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so the A tag. Okay, the top, the left. So we could just say 10px, no, xp, sorry, 10px, and save it. What's up? Why is it applying to only one? Oh yeah. Okay. X, X and X. It's supposed to apply to both of the A tags, but unfortunately, it's only applying to one. This is fishy. Top, right, bottom, left. Let me unflex it and see what's going on. This isn't right. I'm saying all the tags. So let's make it important. Sometimes CSS can be weird. I made it important, but still it doesn't. And okay, I think we wrote some specific codes for the P tag, the color. No, yeah, so that's not a problem. So just okay. I don't know. It changed. Probably just I don't know. It just worked. I didn't write any code. It just worked. So I don't know. And CSS is trying to mess with me. So this, we've achieved the hover effects and the actual look. So the next thing, let's inspect element, please. And yeah, go back to making it look. So the next thing here would be this one. So we can easily achieve it by just saying, do we even need to flex anything here? No, we don't need to flex anybody here. We can just use this is one A tag. This is just one A tag, and it doesn't seem to have a padding. Then yeah, it does have a padding. So let's go to the HTML and add this one giant A tag. We can just copy this guy. Actually, if you're feeling lazy, you can just copy this and paste it. Then we can just take out this P tag. Then we don't need to flex anyone. It has a P tag, but it seems like it has a different style. So let me explain something quickly. So platforms like um, um, LinkedIn and so on use front-end frameworks, and it enables them to use something called components and create specific components. Like this could be a different component from this component. So this component will have its own unique styling. So that's why you see, even though there is consistency, but sometimes when they're working on stuff, you notice differences in subtle differences in design, which there is nothing bad with it. So there's something I noticed here. We actually made this flex, and this here isn't a flex. You know, it's an you could flex it, but even if you flex it, it's using a column direction, but this one is using a row direction. So what we can do right now is either target the end child and say it's going to be, or it's going to be flex direction, and tell it to be um column, or we just use the inline style to just make it column. I think that's the easiest approach, easiest and fastest approach anyway. Anyway, so here it's saying access what access um exclusive tool and insights. So access exclusive tools and insight. Access X, was it capitalized? No. Exclusive tools and insights. Insights. Oh, I'm terrible at spelling and it's showing. Okay. So I don't know why. I'm just so terrible at spelling. I'll try to fix it. But it's not a promise. Okay. We have a H1 tag. Sometimes you could even inspect this div and see what tricks they used. We don't even need to, so we don't need to use divs for everything, we can actually just use span to achieve some things. Okay. So let's see. Here we can use the H3, and we could just say we try premium free. Yeah, premium free. Okay, this is good. And there is one square there. I won't add it for now. This is except if the designer has given that to us. Okay, we would add the SVG. Should be an SVG, please. Okay, we have it. So okay, so you can see now that this one is taking another color entirely different, and then it doesn't look like what we have there. So we can use the inline style and probably just force it, because I told you the inline style has the highest precedence. So we can just say flex direction should be column, and it will just go back to what we want to achieve. And what's the color for the E for the H? It's black. We can also just use inline style and just turn it into black to save time. So just make this style. Color black. This would give us problem when we want to do it, like using the inline too much. When we want to do dark mode. I don't know if LinkedIn has a dark mode. I really don't know how to use this LinkedIn very well. Yeah, I can't. Site preference. I don't think we have a dark mode. Account management or site preference. I don't think it has a so dark mode. But if you use a license too much, it could give you problem when you want to do that and stuff. But that's not what we should worry about now. So this is what we need to do. So this guy has a span, so we could add a span in right here. And in that span, we would copy and paste the values of this SVG. So right click again, copy as SVG and paste it. Okay, and we have it. Just that it's taking, it's not appearing the way we want it to appear. I don't want to add another div to this thing, but it seems like that's what I'm going to be doing. So okay. It seems like we're going to, need to add another. So this thing get the colors right. I don't think this thing got the colors right. So did it? No. I think we got the only one side of this thing. Okay. Copy as SVG. So all we need to do is to take away this SVG and replace it with this, with the new one. Okay, and it's almost right. So but I think I'm okay with this. So let's just work with this one. Then let's just work with it like that. Let's just move to the next thing. The next thing is the items. So the items too is just another div with a H with the A1 with the H3 and stuff. So we can even reduce this. Let's just reduce this to H4 and see if it looks better. Because ours is a bit bigger than what we have on Instagram. So let's change it to a H4. H4. Okay, that's good enough at least. And we'll just move on. It's for H5. No, H5 is too tiny. H5 is okay. Then we could this pan here. Anyways, we'll just leave it. I'll just go to the next thing. If not, we will just keep going back and forth. We could come and fine tune everything. So the item, my items. That's the next one. That's actually the final one. I guess you're already getting tired. So once we add it, then we'll wrap up the day and come back. We might not be able to. I might not be able to have a video tomorrow because I have some things I need to wrap up at the office. So I need the whole Sunday. I need the whole Sunday because I have a very tight deadline to work with. So come on, just don't go to this job, please. So let's inspect this. Let's go to the design. Since we have this SVG, let's right click this, copy as SVG, and paste it to the my items. Okay. Paste it. This will be called my items. My what? Okay, that's about it. We can wrap today's section off and continue to next week. So I think let's see what's remaining. So what I'm thinking of doing is to just complete everything before next week and just explain the concepts. So I think that will make it faster so that we wrap up this one and look into some and wrap up this page and look into making it responsive. So we are not, cloning the whole LinkedIn. So we'll make this particular page responsive. This is supposed to be this width is supposed to be ideal for this one, I guess, for my own device. So this is the width I'm supposed to be working with. So we'll do some coding so we'll do some media queries to achieve this. Then we'll do some more media queries to achieve this on a tablet. Then we do some more media queries to achieve it on, I don't know what device, maybe a mini tablet or a big mobile device. Then we do this for a medium mobile device. Finally, we do this for a small um, media device. And then we would call this session, we'll call this complete class. So I hope the next week I will be free to do all of this with you. If I am not, I'll let you know on time because maybe I might be traveling, but I don't know. I'm not sure. But if I'm traveling, I'll let you know. Maybe work on something, work something out. So for those of you, I know nobody has, was in this meeting fully. So if you've watched this on YouTube and you feel I should continue this pattern of teaching, fine, I could continue. But and I would like the response. If you want a more polished video where I just like every other regular YouTube video where I just build this and build it again and record my screen rebuilding it, just let me know. Thank you for watching.